Goldilocks walked through the woods one day, when she stumbled upon a cave, hidden away. Curiosity sparked, she went inside, and there she found a secret passage to the other side. The passage led her to a wondrous sight, an underwater kingdom bathed in glowing light. There, she met a mermaid, beautiful and kind, whose name was Marina, and whose heart shone bright. Marina was fascinated by Goldilocks, and all the stories she told of humans and their talks. Goldilocks, too, was amazed by all she saw, and they spent hours together, without a single flaw. They explored the kingdom, and the forest on land, each one learning from the other, hand in hand. Goldilocks was amazed by the wonders of the sea, while Marina was thrilled to see the world she couldn't be, and so began a friendship, pure and true, between a girl from the land, and a mermaid, too. Their curious encounter was just the start of an adventure that would take them far apart. Goldilocks and Marina, two friends at heart, explored each other's worlds, never far apart. Goldilocks marveled at the treasures of the sea, while Marina reveled in the wonders on land, wild and free. Together they journeyed, through sea and through wood, finding joy and beauty wherever they stood. They saw creatures great and small, strange and new, and through it all, their friendship grew and grew. Goldilocks showed Marina the marvels of her home, the trees and flowers, the colors that roam. Marina shared with Goldilocks the secrets of the deep, the glittering fish, the mermaids who sleep. They talked and they laughed, and they shared stories too, of their lives, their loves, and their dreams come true. For though they were different, their bond was strong, and they knew they'd be friends, forever and long. And so they explored, with wide eyes and open hearts, each one finding magic in the other's arts. For in their friendship, they found something rare, a love that was true, and beyond compare. One day, as Goldilocks and Marina swam through the deep, they heard a dark voice that made their hearts skip a beat. It was the sea witch, an evil sorceress, feared by all, and she demanded a favor, or else, a terrible fall. She wanted a pearl, the rarest in the sea, and she promised to repay with a favor for thee. Goldilocks and Marina knew it was a dangerous quest, but they couldn't refuse the witch. They had to do their best, so off they went, through coral and reef, to find the pearl that was beyond belief. They searched high and low, and far and wide, until at last, they found it, and held it with pride. But as they swam back, to give the witch her prize, they were met with a surprise that was not so nice. For the sea witch had lied, and had a plan of her own, to use the pearl for evil, and leave them alone. She cast a spell that turned Goldilocks to a statue of stone, and took the pearl, leaving Marina all alone. But Marina was brave, and didn't give up the fight. She knew she had to save her friend, with all her might. And so she swam to the witch's lair, and with her wits, she caught her unaware. She broke the spell, and freed Goldilocks from her fate, and they swam away, before it was too late. The sea witch was angry, and vowed revenge on them both, but Goldilocks and Marina knew they were stronger than an oath. For in their hearts, they had a bond that nothing could break, and they knew that their love would keep them safe. As Goldilocks and Marina swam through the waves, they stumbled upon a ship that was old and brave. They climbed aboard, and found it deserted and still, but then, they heard a sound that gave them a chill. It was a pirate, fierce and mean, who'd caught them by surprise, and turned them green. He offered them a bargain that was hard to refuse, and threatened to harm them if they didn't choose. He wanted a treasure that was hidden in the sea, and promised to let them go if they helped him for free. Goldilocks and Marina knew it was a risk, but they agreed to help, and dive deep for the pirate's fix. They swam through the currents, and the cold and the dark, until they found the treasure that shone like a spark. They brought it back to the pirate, who was pleased as can be, and let them go, saying, "You're free, you're free." But as they swam away, They heard a loud shout. The pirate had tricked them, and filled them with doubt. For the treasure was cursed, and would bring them harm, and the pirate had used them, to keep himself calm. Goldilocks and Marina knew they had to act fast, to break the curse, and make it the past. They searched for a solution, through magic and lore, until at last, they found it, and knew what to explore. They went back to the ship, and broke the curse with their might, and the treasure turned to gold, so shiny and bright. The pirate was angry, and wanted his prize, but Goldilocks and Marina knew it was time to rise. They swam away, with the treasure in tow, and left the pirate behind, to feel the blow. For they knew that their friendship was worth more than gold, and nothing could tarnish the love they hold. As Goldilocks and Marina swam through the waves, they saw in the distance a sight that amazed. It was a beach, with sand and shells, and they wanted to explore, to see what it tells. So they swam to the shore, and climbed up the sand, and walked on two legs, on a new land. They explored the beach, and the nearby town, and soon they found that it was unknown. For people didn't know of mermaids so fair, and Goldilocks and Marina had to take care. They hid their tails, and spoke with ease, and blended in with the people they please. But the challenges came, and they had to adapt to the ways of the land, and the world they had wrapped. For they couldn't swim, or breathe underwater, and it was a challenge like no other. They had to learn to walk, and to talk and to eat, and find new ways to move their feet. They had to learn to live like humans do, and find a way to make it through. But even though it was hard, they didn't give up, for they knew that their love was worth the abrupt. They helped each other, and learned with care, and soon they found that they had a dare. For a storm was coming, and it was time to return to the sea, where they belonged, and the waves they would churn. They said goodbye to the town and the sand, and dove into the water, with a smile so grand. They swam through the waves, and the currents so strong, and they knew that their journey was not yet done. For they had to face more challenges to come, and they had to be ready for what's yet to be won. As Goldilocks and Marina swam through the sea, they noticed something strange that made them feel uneasy. There was a shadow that lurked in the deep, and they knew it was trouble that they couldn't keep. They followed the shadow with caution and care, and found that it led them to a mermaid so rare. She had a wicked smile, and a look in her eye that made Goldilocks and Marina want to shy. She told them of a plot that was brewing in the sea, a plan to take over and make her the queen. She wanted their help to make it come true, and promised them riches beyond what they knew. But Goldilocks and Marina knew it was wrong, and refused to take part in the mermaid's song. They knew that power wasn't worth the price, and they had to stop her before it's too nice. So they gathered their friends, and made a plan to stop the mermaid and her wicked clan. They swam through the currents and the waves so high, and faced their fears with a determined sigh. They fought with all their might, and their hearts so pure, and showed the mermaid what they were for. For they knew that love was stronger than hate, and it was their bond that sealed their fate. They defeated the mermaid and her wicked ways, and saved the sea from her darkening craze. And they knew that their journey was one to tell of how they overcame the darkest of spell. So they swam away with a smile so wide, and knew that their bond would never subside. For they had faced the challenges of land and sea, and knew that their love would always be. As Goldilocks and Marina swam through the sea, they heard a sound that made them worry. It was a call from a distant friend, who told them of a problem that they couldn't mend. A ship had sunk in the midst of the sea, and people were trapped with no way to flee. They needed their help to save them all, and they knew that time was their biggest thrall. So they raced against time with all their might to reach the ship before it's out of sight. They swam through the waves and the raging storm, and faced their fears. With a determined form, they found the ship, in the midst of the sea, and saw the people, who needed to be free. They worked together, with a steady hand, and rescued them all, from the sinking land. They swam them to safety, on the nearby shore, and knew that their bond was worth much more. For they had saved the people's lives, and they knew that their bond was one that thrives. And even though it was hard, and the storm was strong, they knew that their bond would always be long. For they had faced the challenges of land and sea, and knew that their love was where they should be. As Goldilocks and Marina swam through the sea, they came across an unexpected spree. It was a group of creatures they'd never seen before, and they knew that their journey was taking them more. They approached with caution and a steady hand, and saw that the creatures were trying to take land. They were in a battle with a group so rare, and they knew that they needed to show they care. So they stepped in, with a voice so strong, and asked what they were doing, and why it's gone wrong. The creatures explained that they needed a place to stay, and they were willing to fight in any way. But Goldilocks and Marina knew there was a way to solve the problem, and make them stay. They offered an alliance that was unexpected and new, and showed the creatures what love can do. They worked together, with a common goal, to find a place that could fill their soul. They swam through the sea, and the land so wide, and found a place where they could reside. And even though it was hard, and it took some time, they knew that their bond was worth the climb. For they had found an unexpected alliance, and they knew that their love was where they could rely on. And they swam away, with a smile so wide, and knew that their bond would never subside. For they had faced the challenges of land and sea, and knew that their love was where they should be. As Goldilocks and Marina swam through the sea, they knew that a new beginning was where they'd be. For they had faced so many trials, and knew that their bond was as strong as Nile. They had saved lives, and formed alliances, and knew that their journey was full of reliance. But they also knew that it was time to go and start a new chapter, with a steady flow. So they swam to the shore, with a purpose so clear, and knew that their love would always be near. They found a place that felt like home, and knew that their bond would continue to roam. They started a new life, with a heart so true, and knew that their journey was far from through. For they had learned so much about themselves, and knew that their bond was worth many shelves. They lived happily ever after, with a love so pure, and knew that their journey was one to endure. For they had faced the challenges of land and sea, and knew that their love was where they should be. And as they swam, with a smile so bright, they knew that their bond was a guiding light. For they had found a new beginning, and knew that their love was always winning. Goldilocks and Marina lived happily ever after, their bond so strong, like no other. For they had faced the challenges of land and sea, and knew that their love was meant to be. They swam through the sea, with a heart so true, and knew that their journey was far from through. For they had formed an unbreakable bond, and knew that their love was where they belonged. They made new friends, and discovered new places, and knew that their bond was full of graces. For they had learned the power of love, and knew that their bond was like no glove. They helped those in need, and showed them the way, and knew that their bond was here to stay. For they had found a love so rare, and knew that their bond was meant to share. And as they swam, with a smile so bright, they knew that their love was a guiding light. For they had found their happily ever after, and knew that their love was the perfect chapter. So they lived their lives with a love so pure, and knew that their bond would always endure. For they had faced the challenges of land and sea, and knew that their love was meant to be. And as their story comes to an end, they know that their love will always extend. For they had found their happily ever after, and knew that their bond was what really mattered.